How everybody doing out there today, man? This is another great episode of Chop It Up with KJ, man. I have a special guest on with me today, Dr. Casey. I hope y'all gonna get to know her today. She's a real good guest. I can't wait for y'all to get to know her better. But y'all already know before we get on here, I gotta play my little theme music before we start this thing. So this is how we're gonna start off.
Listeners, y'all know what time it is. Chill, chill, chill. It's time to chop it up. Chop it up. Chop it up. Hey, hey. It's time to chop it up. Chop it up. Chop it up. Hey, sport, sport. It's time to chop it up. News. Chop it up with KJ. Podcast. Chop it up. Chop it up. Go ahead, tune in. Go ahead, tell a friend. Tell a friend. Tell a friend. News know we got the latest. Sports talk, we the greatest. Stay in tune with the streets. With politics, all the beef. Hey, chop it up. Go ahead and turn this up a little bit. Chop it up. Hey, put your podcast, AirPods in. Chop it up. Turn your phone up. Chop, whatever you're doing. Chop it up. Sit back and enjoy this podcast with KJ. And now to the host of the show. Give a round of applause. KJ.
That's how we get started. How you doing, Dr. Kaci Myers? How you doing today? I'm so glad to have you on my show today. Um, I just want you to give everybody a little backstory because you got a lot. You got a lot um, going on. You have a lot of degrees, and I just want you to tell the people, who you are and everything. I just want you to start off by doing that for me.
Well, I am doing good. Thanks for asking. I My backstory is kind of long. I grew up in Dayton, Ohio. I got my GED after my mom tried to kill me and took me out of school and wouldn't put me back in school, which eventually led to me being homeless and going to the Army. So from there, I kind of just took life in my own hands. I started, after I got the Army, I moved to Atlanta, started going to church, enrolled in college, and eventually, somewhere on down the line, I ended up with a bachelor's degree in applied management with emphasis in psychology. And I wrote a book. And then I am a lifelong learner. So all of the certificates you see behind me is just a byproduct of who I am.
And and when you say degrees behind you, you have a lot of them. Um, so I want so that right there when you said you was homeless and see, and that's a lot of, especially being black. It takes a lot. Um, we come from a lot of strength and a lot, especially you being a black woman. Um, I feel like black women is one of the strongest women ever. When it comes to anything, but to just say that, in most people, I know a lot of successful people that came from being homeless or stuff like that happened to them to put that in them. So um so with the Army, I know you're an Army war veteran. So
Mhm.
I want you to start right there. So when you was in the Army, how many years did you do in the Army?
I was in the Army for 3 years, 9 months, and 15 days.
That, oh, you got it down to the day. Okay, go ahead.
I mean,
You got it
they just
down.
get to you like that. So when people ask, and it's a great conversation.
Okay. Okay. So I know you have your own the book. I want you to get on this book. So what book, what's the name of this book, and where can somebody find it? Uh where can they find this book? And what is your book about?
I actually have seven books at this time. Um, my first book is called "It's My Time." It is a autobiography written in third person about my life. and the journey that led me to go into the military, and how the military changed me and eventually led me to Christ. I went to church for about I was in church for about 6 years. I call those my dark years because I closed off myself from the world. And I was really like a super religious, deep Christian for a long time. And so I wrote my book during the time of me being involved in church, and it really just details the story of my life. It can be found on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, anywhere that you could buy a book, you can find it. I have it in paperback and paperback, ebook, and I just released an audiobook.
Okay. Okay. So everybody, did y'all hear that? So 7 books, correct? That's what you just told me?
Yes, so the first one is It's My Time. Then I wrote a book titled The Unknown Power of a New Believer. It is a book that is really about how when you first get to know God, you are the most powerful being that you'll ever be because you haven't been tainted by stories and challenges of being involved in religion and church. So the more you get closer to people that's in church that has had their faith tainted, the more they'll talk down on whatever you're telling them that God told you to do. And so that book is really just a breakdown to help people be strong in their faith and to identify that your faith is stronger in the beginning stages because you haven't experienced nothing and nobody has hurt you in those environments. My next 4 books are faith books, Faith 101, 201, 301, and 401. It is designed to be like a class of sorts. I have questions, I have journal books that go that can be purchased along with them. And the new versions of my faith books will actually include where in the book itself it will also have the journal entry portion at the end. So those books are about understanding faith, getting your mind right, I guess you could say, and then using that to find your purpose and live a purposeful life. So the first book, Faith 101, it's an introduction. It teaches you about prayer. It talks to you about what faith is. It talks to you about being the authentic version of yourself. The next book, Faith 201, is actually about coming up with your vision, a 5-year plan, and how to navigate being purposeful and being intentional and setting your intentions. The third book is The Results of Self-Love. So it teaches you about how learning who you are versus what people tell you you should be, how that helps you to develop, grow, and reach your goals more. Because the more you become the authentic version of yourself, the more you can be intentional and do the things that you want to do, that you need to do to get the goal accomplished versus doing, being like a
Yes.
chicken with the head cut off and doing
You
everything.
you have to know you have to know yourself first. You
You,
and I tell people you have to love yourself before how can you love somebody else if you don't love yourself first? So
even in the nature of um people feeling like parts of themselves are wrong or like they're not who they're meant to be, like whether you like sex or whether you like other things, all of that is a part of who you are. Your attitude, you need that attitude. You need to learn how to use your attitude when it's appropriate so that
there
it
we go.
is for the purpose of what it's made for. It's made to protect you, but you don't need to be
Right.
protected from little Timmy selling waters unless little Timmy is getting aggressive with you. You know what I'm saying?
You're right, right.
It's so, and then the last book is Faith Cultivated Love, and that is just learning how to be intentional about who you love and how you love, because of course after you love yourself, Now you are capable of loving others in ways that they can receive, and ways that are is does not seem burdensome to you. And then my final book of this portion of published books, because I have a lot more in the works once I get these situated. The last book is actually the first, my baby. It's called Spiritual Human Behavior. And it really just helps the readers to unlock the understanding of knowing why they are who they are. We talk about your environment, we talk about your parents, your DNA, the choices you made, and kind of get the reader to go back through their mind and figure out, when did I start being like this? When did I pick up this trait? What caused me to be this way? Because
That's
if you can understand your triggers, then you can learn to not be triggered. You can learn to handle things different, and you will be more purposeful. It's all about understanding who you were created to be and understanding your purpose. I personally believe that um, I believe parts, I don't want to say parts of the Bible. I believe where it says that we were formed in our mother's womb before we got here. So if you were made before you got here, then that means that you and God had this conversation. This is my belief system, that I had a conversation with God in heaven before I even came to earth. And I was like, oh, okay, God, we're going to go down here, and this is what's going to be my assignment. These are the things that I'm going to do. And God was like, okay, well, these are the parents that you need. This is the environment you need to be in. And this is what you're designed to do.
yeah,
And then when I'm born, I am the most authentic self, kind of like when you first get saved and become a believer and you first get an understanding of
yeah.
God. I'm the most authentic version of myself. But your environment, the situations, everything around you kind of change you. Your sole job on this earth is to remember what God sent you here to do. And the more you unlearn all of the negative, the more you'll understand the truth of who you are.
Um, you that read there now. See, I got to get that book for sure because I tell people a lot of, like, I work with a lot of different people. I hear a lot of people, they blame their childhood for
Mm-hmm.
how they are. And my thing to that is, you're grown up now. You can't keep blaming your parents for what happened. You know what I mean? And I say, you don't understand what your parents went through until you become a parent.
Mm-hmm.
And you like, well, I could see why in that
I mean,
situation. Why? Go ahead.
not just that, also what type of parent they had and what they had to go through in
What?
order to even
How
get
they
to
was
come
raised?
to.
Correct.
And that it allows you to give them grace but hold them accountable, because there are some things that you knew you didn't like going through it. Shit, your ass did something different. But that's not always the case. People are not always as strong as we've come to be. And our strength oftentimes come from our parents' struggles, because for most people, not all, some people, and my book talks about this, some people become an exact replica of who their parents are, dysfunction and everything. But there are other people who see who their parent is and they like, I don't want to be that.
Yeah,
And
right.
then
They make a
change,
difference.
they change a part of themselves, but everybody
Correct.
is equipped to make those change. Well, everybody isn't ready to face themselves to make those changes. Most times, generational curses are nothing more than unaddressed problems that people keep a secret so long to where you think it's a curse. But no, I just didn't teach you that I went through that so that you can make a better decision. This is what I went through. This is what I did. I want you to learn something and do something better than me. So let me tell you about when I did this, such and such and such and such. So you don't make the same decisions because you see the results that it got.
Correct. Correct. And right there, that book right there alone, like, because I like I say, I'm around a lot of people, and that's all they talk about is, past history, how they was raised, a lot of guys, they don't talk to their mom or they don't talk to this person because of what happened. And I always tell a lot of people, you know, you only get one mom, you only get one dad. And I know, and I have been around people that had it bad, that had it real rough. Um, I have friends that was, you know, they end up being homeless because of their parents. And but at the end of the day, like you just said, they they rose above that and they done something about it and they got on the right path. So, and like you say, you don't know what the parents went through. They could have they could have had a bad life, or they
I
wasn't
mean,
taught right.
it's a little give and take here because we give grace to parents, but we don't make excuses for poor behavior. I can
Right,
for my own self. I'm a great example of a lot of things because I've been through a lot of things. So at 17, my mother attacked me. I could smell alcohol on her, so I'll assume that she was allegedly intoxicated. I don't know what all she was on, or if she was on something other than liquor. But one day during school, I came home for lunch. I literally worked at a jewelry store. I was in school. I drove, me and my friend went home. I went to go get clothes for work because I had to go to work after school. And she literally, literally start cussing me out because I didn't do good on a test that I probably didn't study for because I skipped school. She had abandoned me before I started high school in Kentucky. So I ended up changing schools because I didn't want to miss the first 2-3 weeks of school because she would not come and get me. So once I found a way home, I switched schools and all of this is going on. So I had a lot going on. Matter of fact, this is after I got expelled for fighting and she wanted to buy me a car. And I was like, why would you buy me a car? I've been in trouble. Like, so all of these things were happening. And in turn, I would be in school. I was driving from Dayton to Cincinnati. I was, like doing all types of, and this talking about during school hours. Nobody was checking for me. So this one time she asked me about a test. I told her I felt like I did good. So when the test results came, she was upset and she was like, well, I thought you did good. And I said, well, I told you I thought I did good. I don't know if I did good or not. It ended up being an argument that ensued. I was getting my stuff and we argue and I go to leave out. She take the keys out the car. After she take the keys out the car, now I'm like, okay, now I gotta walk back to school. Me and my friend get out the car. We getting ready to walk to school. She's yelling at the door. B, you ain't shit. You ain't never gonna be shit. Da 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 da. Cool. My response is, well, if I'm not shit, I'm a byproduct of you. That means that you ain't
right,
shit.
right,
This
right,
is
right, right.
and she comes outside and she's swinging on me. I stopped her from swinging. I was a fighter. I fought a lot. Like I got expelled for fighting at one point. So I did not try to fight her, but I ended up we tussled and she ended up being kind of in the headlock because I'm like, chill out. Like I'm not trying to fight you, but I'm also not going to let you beat me up just because you my mom. So I'm just supposed to sit here and get beat. No, we ended up tussling, falling to the ground. She's beating my head on the ground on a piece of concrete. My friend put her foot up under my head so it wouldn't keep being hit. Then she started
Right.
straining. My friend said my eyes was rolling and bloodshot and then rolling in the back of my head. Like my mother literally almost killed me. A man came and rescued me. He jumped out his car. He rescued me, literally. Um, I ended up homeless after that. Lived with a friend, lived with a cousin, then lived with a friend, and lived with one of my mama's friends who helped me get my GED because my mother withdrew me from school and then refused to put me back in school. She felt like it was a waste of time.
Mm,
So I'm saying all of this story because fast forward to now, I had to learn to cut my mother off. I had to learn to stop expecting my mom to be a parent and just see her for who she is. And this is not because of that situation. It became a pattern of because after that, she lied to my family and told my family I attacked her. Then my family turned on me. So They didn't turn on me because I did something that they saw. They turned on me because she said I attacked her. And
Correct.
then after that, it became a pattern of her lying on me whenever something didn't go her way. So I've been accused of calling the police on my mom. When something made me uncomfortable, the family, like, they turn on me anytime I speak up and say something right. So when I went to the army like, I'm never coming back to this place. Matter of fact, not only am I never coming back, I'm only coming to funerals of my parents and my grandparents, because y'all done already showed me that y'all really don't fool with me like that if I stand up
Right.
for myself. And
Right.
it's crazy because I talked to my mom. I will talk to her, but it took years. I almost died of sepsis. I had a surgery at the VA. It ended up being they nicked my bowel, and I ended up being in the hospital. And she called me and was like, "Oh, my bad. I thought I called your cousin's number." Like, nigga, you know you called my number. You know I don't normally answer, but I answered. So now
Right.
you try to play it off. But then
Right.
I started telling her, like, "Hey, the way you deal with me before, you can't deal with me like that no more." I got cussed out because she gave a cousin that I don't know my number. And I told her, like, "Hey, don't give people my number." Well, I don't care. It's in my phone. I do. Whoa, wait a minute now. Just because it's in
Yeah.
your phone
You just don't just give my number out to people.
to
Yeah.
strangers. And this person, I mean, she's related, but she wants to come and live with me. I don't know her. So why would you give this person I
Right.
don't know, for real, for real? I don't care if I've seen her once or twice or met her before. I don't know her. And so I'm saying all of that to say, over the years, you have to learn what's healthy and what's not healthy for you. No matter how many times I try to look past how my mother treats me, I'm smacked in the face by how my mother treats me. About 2 months ago, we had been doing good. About, I think in 2019, something happened and she started fussing at me. And I was like, "I'm not doing this. If you're going to fuss, I don't want to talk to you." And I didn't call her no more. So then we eventually started talking again. And we've been doing good since 2019. About 3 months ago, she called me and said that somebody had opened up some student loans in her name. And I was like, "Oh man, for real? Like, have you called the school? Like, that's like federal crime. You need to call the police, because ain't nothing
Right.
that I can do if you've called the school that gave you all the information and everything." Her response was, "You know what? You're right. It's nothing." And she hung up on me. And I'm thinking, like, "Hey, what the fuck did she just hang up on me for?" Because I told her I'm not the police, and that's who she needs to call. Like,
She
what am I supposed to do?
she expected you to she expected you to do something about it.
But she's done. I'm asking her if she's done all the things that I would do. And she's like, "Yeah, I did that. I did that." Okay, well, there's nothing else that I would do. Like, you've done everything. Now you need to call the police so they can investigate. That's the only thing you could do.
Right.
She cussed me out. And she was like, "You know what? You're right. You're right." And I was like, "Well, damn, we was doing good. Like, why did I get cussed out?" When
Yep.
somebody did something wrong up under my name and I called her, she was like, "Well, I don't know what happened," but she was the only one that was around. So it is um it's good when a person learns that they can't see their parents the way that everybody else sees their parents. Everybody don't have the
Right.
parent that mess up, apologize, or change their behavior and then it's regular. Some people have parents that are committed to toxicity. So no matter what you do, when it gets too good, they're going to do something to throw it off. And in order to protect your peace and protect your mental health, you have to learn to not deal with those people.
Yes. Yes. And I have dealt with women that had families that didn't that they had to get away from their families because they didn't deal with them. They treated them a certain way, and you pretty much like I like to say, I'm gonna give you the same energy. It's like I'm going off energy. I'm giving you the same energy you give me. So
That's a
that
learned
right there,
response, though.
yes, yes, that book right there. That book right there, I know that all your books gonna sell, but I know that one right there is a big one because I know plenty of people that have that problem or have that have went through that. Like I work with a lot of guys, a lot of people um that this family alone have problem with family, and that's why I always say it's hard to mix business with family. Trying to get a friend a job and stuff like that because they just family and friends think they're just trying to get over on you.
It depends on
Like,
how they're raised. So if they're raised
yeah,
in a user based mentality, like I talk to my family, but I don't need to use them, so I don't have to kiss their ass. So I don't have
correct,
to.
correct.
And when you need them, that makes them feel like they can treat you some type of way. So learning to
Yes,
restructure your life kind of change, but it changes the parameter because and it's different for me. My family is still in Ohio. I'm in Atlanta. So I can't even need them if I wanted to need them because they're not close enough for me to really lean on them. But
correct.
again, um, when you are the person that's outspoken and willing to do different and ain't with none of the stuff that is considered normal in your family, you're always going to end up being, I don't want to say the outcast, but you're going to stand out because you're not going to want to be involved with chaos. I live a real peaceful life. I go home. I just recently started going back to Ohio to kind of visit because people are dying a little bit more rapidly. So I want to have experiences to where my children know my family and they know who their family is. I mean, and I am the type of person that even if I don't fool with you, I probably told my children why I don't fool with
The
you. So
kid,
I
your
don't have a
kids,
problem introducing my children to you because they need to be able
right?
to put a face with a fucking name, okay?
Yes, 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 and know who their cousins are.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that too. And
yeah.
listen, I wouldn't say that I have a strained relationship with my family. I just was at home in November and it was all love. But I also know who I'm dealing with. So if a person has ever verbally abused me before or said something crazy because they was in their feelings, then I'm not gonna deal with them the way that I would if we was all good. You know what I mean?
Correct, correct. That all by that energy. Hey,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? I know how to feed you.
Yeah.
Like my grandma used to say, I feed you with a long handle spoon.
When you
So
need to. Hmm.
right, right. So that right there, like I say, that book right there, man. A lot of people need to y'all need to go get that book because I know a lot of people that struggles, don't know how to deal with their family or people close to them when they're I feel like you say it's depending on how you raised, but I feel like when they're trying to get over on you and you're not realizing it. And
I
they
mean, but
just
when you
go
condition
ahead.
enough, you definitely not realizing that it's manipulation because you think it's normal.
Correct. Correct. That's exactly what it is. You think it's normal. Because
Hmm.
especially I'm 40 years old, so back in the days, I always say back in the days. Um, like growing up, you seen, like when I grew up, you were supposed to marry one woman, have your kids with one woman. I grew up seeing my grandma, and granddaddy. My grandma had 11 kids. You growing up seeing, they never. It was never nothing else. It don't matter what happened, they was together. Um, so, but of course, when you get older and be an adult, you figure out it's some things that just can't happen like it used to. You know, it it's just kind of different now, especially I think with I only got one kid. He's 19 now. But me and his mom ain't stay together. But I tried for the longest.
You got to realize that them back in them days, your grandma couldn't get a bank account. She
Yeah,
couldn't
you're right.
house
You
by
you right.
herself. It's
You're
a
right.
lot of things that she couldn't
Yes,
even do to leave if she wanted to
right.
leave. Then shit,
Right.
after I've been here 20 years, I'm cool with you. You do you, I'm gonna do me. I mean, we ain't gonna be
Right.
disrespectful to each other, but
Right.
I didn't been here too long. What Beyonce say? I didn't been here too long to let somebody else come in and think that they gonna benefit off of what I done did.
Yep.
I built you up now at this point. Shit, we
Yep.
gonna rock this thing till the wheels fall off.
And with you saying that, like I have family members that they still with they still with the same person, even though it's been crazy stuff going on. They should have been gone, but they still there. But because they're still on the same, they still go by the same values of how we grew, grew up. But I get exactly what you're saying.
And it's not a bad thing, though.
No,
No.
yeah, it's right.
I have clauses. So if I ever got in a relationship, cheating is not what's gonna make me leave. Lying about it, it'll make me leave before just cheating itself. Because
And see,
if go ahead.
Dr. Kaci, let me ask you this question now. Now, you really saying that? Because I feel like a woman sets a man up when she tell him, just tell me the truth. You know?
So I've
So
been married
if
before.
he comes to you and tell you, hey, um, I'm gonna go ahead and let you know that I did such and such. I was with this girl, I cheated or whatever. So
See, do you telling me before or after? Because okay, so let's start here. I was married
go
for
ahead.
5 years. I love what marriage is supposed to be. I also realize that you have to get with somebody that's on your level mentally, spiritually, and physically, if not financially as well. Finances is not the most important thing for me because I'm set. Anybody that I get with is going to be set. I can help you make any type of money that you want to make. I am a very business minded, ideal driven person. I just need somebody that'll carry the ideals out. So when I got divorced, this is how I became a sex coach. When I got divorced, I started reflecting what would be the thing that would be my deal breakers if I ever got married again, because I didn't want to get married again, ever again. I never really ever wanted to get married in the first place because I never wanted to get a divorce. So
Okay.
I was like, okay, so what would be my deal breakers? I've dealt with guys that cheat, and it never was the fact that they had been with somebody else. It was always the fact that they got to lie to be with somebody else. So cheating was like finances is something that breaks up homes. Cheating breaks up homes, and lack of communication is what really is the problem, even with both of
That's
those things.
I think that's the biggest
That's
one.
the root.
I think that's the
Um,
biggest one, communication.
yeah, and that's the root of the financial problems, cheating, and all of that. Because if you can communicate, you can overcome anything because you're going to talk about it. So when I was going through my deal, what would my deal breakers be? The clauses were, if you cheated, let's say you cheat once, I'm gonna be upset that you cheated, because why couldn't I fulfill your desires? I'm a wild one. I enjoy sex. I'm willing to try a lot of different things. So there's nothing that you could bring to me that I won't want to try to do, especially if I'm married to you. But I understand. I like looking at ass. If I see a booty, babe, look at her. Look at her butt. Oh my look. I mean, that's just the type of
See,
person
that's
that
see, listen, Dr. Casey, now you trying to set it, that's a setup right there. I always
it's
feel
not
that's a setup.
it's not a setup. When you're talking to a mature person and you
Gotcha.
have the
Okay.
understanding of who you're dealing with.
Okay. But
So
but but
I've gone to sex parties. I would love to go to Trapeze. That's a club here in Atlanta that is like a swingers club, I guess you would say.
right, right.
Like I am not opposed to those type of things. I believe in watching porn together. Like that's how you learn your person. If your person is that type of person, then they can hide what they're going to do, but I don't want a person that feels they need to hide the truth from me. I want somebody to be like, babe, you know what, man, I seen this girl, and man, I was thinking like, whew,
Right.
you know, like that's where my mind is at. And then we can move from there because listen, if I marry, this is the logic. If I marry a compulsive cheater, like if I fall in love with somebody that does nothing but cheat on me, and I don't want to leave that person, I'm not going to get cheated on forever. I'm going to go find him a girlfriend that is cool, that ain't trying to get him for nothing, that me and her can communicate, because I would rather know where you are than have you out trying to be community dick to get something when we can work this out a different way. It doesn't have to be messy. It doesn't have to be. Now, I'm not saying I want a man that wants to cheat. I want a man that
Right.
wants,
Right.
but I want that man for who he is. I don't want the potential of who he could be if he changed. If he never changed, will I love him for who he is? That's what I think about relationship. If he never changes, so when I meet men now as a single woman, guess what how do you act on a regular humbug? I don't want to tell you nothing. I'm not saying nothing. Just who you are as a person is going to tell me if I want to deal with you. Because if I like who you are, if I love you, there's nothing that you can do to make me unlove you other than doing something towards me to hurt me directly.
Well, Dr. Casey, well, I'm gonna tell you, well, them
I
guys in Atlanta, but but they see this, they gonna be knocking at your door because I reason why I say that is because I feel like a lot of women don't. I think they with the communication thing, they don't. What you just said, they don't understand. Um, I feel like a lot of women just feel like you know, it's especially men. Us men can't take it the same way women can. We feel like if we find out our woman messed around on us, we're gone. We ain't doing no. I'm taking your bag, none of that. And I just see it with most men, they don't give it a chance. Women, on the other hand, like you say, when it's a good woman, I feel like when a woman understands, especially like you said, communication, like you'll get, okay, you messed up. You told me we talked about it. You messed up. Let's move forward. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna be on your side. I'm here for you. But that's hard. That is hard to find, I believe, because I feel like women 30 and up, you probably can find that. But for a younger generation, like my son's 19, I tell him all the time, I feel for him because I feel like the girls now, these women now, is all about one thing, pretty much. You know, girls can't cook. They want money. It's
That's
hard.
that's the view that you are choosing to take because you're looking at what the internet shows you versus the things that you can see and
No,
actually access.
I'm looking at not the internet. I'm looking at what
How
actually
many young girls you know that can't cook and their mama don't teach them nothing? Like no personally.
a bunch personally, like a bunch. They mama try to teach them, but they don't push to do it. So like girls my son have dated, right? And he'll come to me, he's scared to say something to me, but he'll say something to me and I'll tell him the situation, like, son, I don't that girl ain't for you. But at the end of the day, you can't tell nobody that's in puppy love or however you want to put it. I don't care what you speak or tell somebody, they're not listening. If they feel a certain type of way about a person, they're gonna do what they're gonna do anyway, no matter who it is. You know, and I had to learn that, you know, dealing with friends of mine, or your family, they'll come to you for advice, but when you tell them some good advice, or you just don't like that person, you know. So
I mean,
I'm
the
not
way
saying
advice generally works is you gotta. It's kind of like seasoning. You sprinkle it on and you let it simmer until it's needed. And then when it's needed, when you need to taste it, then you see the relevancy of it, whether it's too much seasoning or too little. So it's kind of like what we talked about as far as being raised. You get the tools in the toolbox for you to use them when you need them. It's a lot of stuff that I know, but I don't need it all the time. Like it's some things that I could talk about here, but it's irrelevant. It has nothing to do with the conversation. So it's not the fact of knowing it. It's knowing that you told them that makes a difference long term. It's it like when he need it, he gonna be able to say, you know what? Damn, my dad told me, and that's a good thing because
right.
you put in the effort. It's better to tell him and him not listen than not tell him and he don't even it's no ground to stand on.
Hey, you said something, Dr. Casey, right there, because and that's how I feel afterwards. But I mean, feel like it's going in one ear and going out the other. But I feel like at least I told him. At
Yeah,
least I,
that's all you can do.
at
Listen,
least I
I have
let him know.
a girl son and he in love with this little girl. I can't make him not be in love, but
Correct.
I can teach them both things. My job is not just to teach my son. My job is to teach my son and to teach her dealing with my son, not about my son, but about guys, period. So they had an incident where I guess some scissors fell out of her hand or they was like tussling over scissors. Like, you know how you be like, well, no. And it got blown up to her parents thought that my son like hit him out her hand or did something crazy, not because that's what happened, but because that's the way she told the story. So I have to tell her the other day, hey, if you tell the story, make sure you tell it completely because people die because of that.
Correct. Correct. Especially.
Easily.
Especially.
If you would have been talking to
Especially.
the right person, I have a cousin that if I tell him some things, he's ready to damn haul off on somebody. He don't care about, and I won't say he don't care about going to jail. He's grown a lot over the years of being in jail. But guess what? If the right thing happened and I tell him, he will go back to jail for me. I can't allow my cousin to be put in that position,
Yeah.
but more so, I need to make sure that I'm telling my cousin exactly what happened because if I'm wrong, my cousin needs to correct me and not the guy.
Right.
But at the same time, and this is what I told her, it's not about my son. If you date anybody else, make sure you're giving an accurate description about what's going
Correct.
on because now they're going to look at whoever you date. The minute you tell them something wrong, now they're looking at him crazy. And guess what? I don't want to live the rest of my life being in the middle of my son's relationships. so so
Correct.
at some point because if I start out that way, then he becomes a mama's boy who can't live without his mom making decisions and being in his business. And I'm not
There,
that mom.
there we go. And you said a mouthful, Dr. Casey, about you let her know not just only your son, but anybody. You got to make sure you tell the whole thing because especially girls and her dad is because he got that's his girl. They're gonna it's a difference. It's a difference when
Mm-hmm.
you're a little
I mean,
girl, you know.
the mom texts me like, I don't like the way this relationship going. Well, wait a minute. Did you get both sides of the story? Do you know what's going on? Because it's 8 o'clock in the morning. And you're texting me about some puppy love and kid shit. These is kids.
Right,
But
right.
the grand scheme of things is one knowing who you're dealing with, and it's so crazy because my son has said before, it's not my job to heal people, it's not my job to fix people. Like I don't have no control over what else is going on in that person's life, and he understands that, and I'm so thankful that my son understands it's not his job to fix people.
Yeah, he that's good. And how old you did you say he was?
16.
Okay, 16. Okay, okay. Yeah, he that's good that he already owned that. He's already on it. So
But
um
before we go, I
six-
also was gonna say that women
go
don't
ahead.
cheat the same way men cheat. Women
No, they
probably
don't. No,
more,
no.
but the reasoning and the circumstances behind them cheating. If a woman cheats on you, either she was never into you from the beginning and she just messing with you because of the benefits, or she was extremely faithful. You messed her over. It doesn't have to be you cheated on her. You could talk to her crazy. You could be emotionally abusive. You could be fit. You cannot have good sex. You cannot sex her often enough. There is not just one thing that makes a woman cheat. It's
Dr.
normally
Casey.
comprised of a buildup over time, and
Listen,
it just comes out.
you that right there, and I listen. I be telling see guys that I work with be thinking I be crazy. I be telling them, listen, if she cheated, first of all, and I tell them it's got you done something, or the whole time she was just there for some for the benefits. If she cheated on you, I say it. Women, I think one thing about women, if they messing with somebody and they rock with that person, they rock with that person. They ain't just cheating to cheat.
Mm-mm.
It just don't happen overnight. Oh, I
I
feel
mean,
like cheating tonight.
some women act like men and will cheat just to cheat.
That
I
that
would
that
say
that's
probably
true. But
about 10%.
a real woman, if you're dealing with a real woman, you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about that stuff unless you, like you said, if unless you messed up or she really didn't feel like you. Because I be telling these guys,
Whatever.
and I always tell, and this is what I tell the white guys. I like mess with the white guys. I tell them he's a real good guy. He's got good credit. That's why they there. And
Mm-hmm.
they be thinking I be playing, but I be serious with them. It
There,
because go ahead.
a lot of women end up being raised to be taken care of. And this
Correct.
goes back to the point to what you were saying earlier. There are a lot of women that are raised to be taken care of and catered to and all these things. And that can stifle the way that they think. So there are some people that get in relationships just for that. And the whole relationship will ride on that. But there are a
Yep.
lot of women that, especially once you begin to establish yourself, and I can't even say that because I'm in a lot of groups of women that vary. A lot of these who used to date who, or is that my man type groups, and there are people that are financially stable that are still looking to use men, but they have a harder time of getting men because they want to use them more than they want to love them, and only insecure men allow you to use them until they're dry, knowing that it's going nowhere.
There we go again. And like we call them on the street, simps. They simps because because if like like most real women, um, of course, like you get with somebody, you're gonna take care of your woman, wine and dine her, this and that.
If
But
that's your lady,
at the
lady,
right, if that's your woman, you're gonna do that. But when you're a simp, like the woman already know you a simp. First of all,
yeah.
that's the biggest thing. She already know you a simp, so she's not even gonna say, "Well, babe, this week or this month, I go have with you on this and that, whatever." A real woman will say that when she respect her man and don't think he just a simp or he just there for money. So, and I tell guys that too. She could look all good she want to, beautiful thing or whatever. If you just looking for that, you in trouble.
Yeah.
And I tell guys that you need to look right here. Do she got that? Does she got a good heart? Does
Hmm.
she is she there for just you?
See,
What
see,
if
but
you
it's
lose? Go
not that
ahead.
she got a good heart to impress you. Do she got a good heart when you're not around? Before she met you, was she doing this
Correct.
behavior pattern? Because some people turn on aspects of themselves just to appease who they're trying to appease to get close. And then after years, months, days, mostly after years, when they feel like, oh yeah, this I didn't sank in now, I didn't
Right.
marinated in it, it ain't going
Right.
nowhere.
Right. He ain't
Then
gonna know. Yeah.
it's the same. Men do it too. It's not just women that do this. Men do it
Right.
as
Right.
well. When they
Right.
try to
Men.
put their hooks in somebody and they feel like they got a good one, they put on a front for a very long time. It could be 5 years. My ex-husband showed pieces of himself, but I didn't really see who he was until we were so deep into the marriage that you feel like, damn, I gotta try to make it work until you
Right.
can't.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
when it started
Right.
making me miserable and I started feeling like, damn, I'm doing all the changing and I'm the only one changing, I'm not doing this no more. I'm out. I'm done. That's when I was done.
Right. 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 And I never been married. I was engaged once. But and that goes like, and I always felt I was confused at one time. I didn't know what a woman want. If I worked too hard, I worked too much. If I worked too less, I didn't make enough money. So I'm saying that from when I was younger to older. So when I was younger, felt like I didn't make enough money. Uh, and then when I was older, felt like I worked too much. Felt like some relationships I got into, it was you at work more than you. But I made time for women, but it still felt like, and I used to say, so if I start working this job, because I'm a welder, I used to weld on the road. I used to be on the road a lot, and I used to make time for I felt like I used to make time for my woman, so I felt like I was doing my part, what I need to do, and I was taking care of home. So I felt like I was doing what I need to do. But at the end of the day, one thing I know you can't buy, and I tell a lot of guys this too, because I'm a track coach. Coach young kids, 5 to 18. I tell a lot of kids, especially when they get up into age, being a senior in high school, I tell them you can't buy time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how much money you got. You can't buy time with your kids or buy time with nobody, with your girlfriend, whoever it is. You could buy them all the stuff you want to buy them,
But it doesn't
but it
replace.
still doesn't. It don't replace the time to put in with them. And you know, at the time, I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about the money. I didn't care. I didn't care about it. I felt like that I'm doing what I need to do. But at the end of the day, you could do everything right, but that don't mean it's right that don't mean it's right on both sides. That don't mean that she feels like it's everything is right. And but that's decisions you have to make. It's all This just decisions. And I tell my son all the time too. You make the right decisions because at the end of the day, they can't change your life if you make the wrong ones.
I mean, but the wrong decisions can be lessons. So I believe, and I put in my
That
books,
that
there is
a
no such
that
thing as a
that
mistake. Everybody
okay,
is learning.
okay.
You never get the same day twice. You've never been the same person that you're going to be the next day. You've never been that person before, because everything that you face today will change how you see tomorrow. So there are no mistakes. If you make an error or something doesn't work out the way that you want, it is a lesson. And when you start seeing incidents that don't go the way that benefits, fits, or pleases you, and you look at it as lessons, now you take away your triggers, you take away the trauma behind it, because now you are associating that thing as a lesson instead of a trauma. It wasn't something that I went through, it was something that I learned from. And when you change the way you look at it, then it changes the way you see your life. Now, for your friends and the people that know you, that always talk about how their parents did this or this happened and this happened, okay, let's reshape those things. Okay, you went through this with your parent, like the incident with my mom. What lesson did I learn from that? One, you can't trust people that you might supposed to trust. Let's start there, And when people are intoxicated, they're going to respond in a way that they might not respond. But the biggest thing that I learned, and the biggest thing that stayed with me, and for that situation, it's no lessons that you can really get. other than how you respond to people, how you talk and exchange words with people, not feeding people their own poison because sometimes it'll make them turn on you. But the biggest thing that I took away from that is the way that I learned to cope with it is if God allowed me to go through that, He made me go through it to help somebody else. It ain't no way that my mama tried to kill me, and it's not supposed to be helpful to somebody else. Oh, I think we lost the host. where is the host? Where did the host go? Anyways, so the biggest thing is making sure that you turn your trauma into lessons, because lessons turn into blessings. If you learn something from a situation, if you can get something from a situation, then it no longer serves as a trigger. Now it is something that you can learn from to remember. It's something that can carry you into your next challenge, your next thing that you'll face, because life is topsy turvy. You'll always have challenges in life. You cannot avoid life's challenges, but you can look at them different. You can perceive them different. You can allow those challenges that you face to teach you something so that you don't experience the same thing more than once. Learn from it. Be great from the things that you've learned. That's what makes life a blessing. I'm not sure what happened to the host, and I don't want to take over his show. We are live, so hopefully he comes back on really soon. Let me see if I can message him to see where he at. This dead silence is not going to get it either. So I am just sending him a message to see if he is going to be able to get back on the stream. Again, I am his guest for today. My name is Kaci, Dr. Kaci. I am a life coach. I am a sex coach. I have a lot of certificates, as you can see. So I'm an Army wartime veteran. I am the CEO of Speaking Freedom and Speaking Freedom TV. I have a podcast that is on YouTube. Subscribe to it, Speaking Freedom TV, and I talk about life issues. Oh, I think we got our host back. I was just giving them a rundown so that it wouldn't be dead silence while we was waiting.
Man, Stream y'all killing me. Stream
I
y'all is
told you I
killing
don't
me.
like StreamYard.
Man, I'm done with them. I'm got to figure something else. I'm done with them.
I use you can stream live with Zoom. I just set it up the other day. Once I found out that it could be done, I use Zoom for my recordings. I have not
Really,
done a live show yet, but it's capable.
really.
Oh, but let me finish my list. So I'm also a licensed massage therapist. I
Oh
am an
yeah,
ordained
go ahead.
I am an ordained minister. I am certified as a love and relationship coach. I'm certified in positive psychology coaching. Again, I am an author, speaker, and I have certified in mediation, which is really just a peacemaker. But that's a list of things.
Well, I'm glad Dr. Casey got the I hate my stream, but my thing was acting up, but the internet was acting up. But Dr. Casey, I'm glad you got to give them a rundown on all the stuff you're certified in. And everybody, I want to let y'all know that hopefully I'm gonna try to have Dr. Casey on. We got to have Dr. Casey on again, for we could definitely talk about. We're gonna talk about one subject. We're gonna talk about these relationships and her being a sex coach and this massage therapist. We're gonna talk definitely just about that on another time. So I think I want to thank everybody, and I definitely want to thank my special guest today, Dr. Casey, for coming out and give me her blessings to come out and give you her great word on all her great experiences and those 7 books she has. So y'all definitely go cop those books, because I know several people that need those books. See, it'll take somebody else to tell you. You might not want to listen to me. So maybe if Dr. Casey tell y'all, see y'all, she got doctor in front of her name, maybe y'all listen to her. So,
It's subjective.
so
But thanks for having me. I really enjoyed the conversation. It is always good to share and relate and to help other people.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. I have people, and the people that support you, the people that don't even know you. So, and I realized that over time. Um, and it's crazy because I have people that I don't even. I feel like well, I know I don't even mess with them at all, and they'll come to me and say, "Well, KJ, man, I heard the podcast, man. This and that. I needed to hear that." And I'm looking at them like, well, I didn't even think you would listen to the podcast, but anyway, thank you. But that just goes to show that you can't judge a book by its cover, and you just have to. And I feel like you just got to keep on, giving your word, and just keep at it, and it would definitely hit somebody um right there where they need it on that day. Um, but Dr. Casey, once again, before you get off here, what else something you want to tell everybody? Because I definitely um got to have you back on here on at another time. But what you want to say before you leave?
Just follow me on TikTok, YouTube, Dr. Casey, but it's always going to be up under Speaking Freedom because that's what I do. I speak freedom. I want people to be healed, whole. And when I say wholeness, I mean sexual health, mental health, financial health, spiritual health, every way possible. You should be fulfilled. You should be satisfied. You should know what you need to be at peace with yourself, and then you should seek peace. It's not hard to obtain. I know a lot of people think that you can't have peace in this world and that something is always going to happen, but you really just have to reshape how you think, and then learn to be thankful in all situations because you can grow from anything.
Thank you, Dr. Casey. And everybody out there, y'all go cop one of those books, those 7 books. She let y'all know where you could go follow at. I already follow her on YouTube. When she first told me about it, I follow her right away. Um, so y'all go follow her on YouTube. Definitely Spoken Freedom TV. I
Speaking
think I
freedom.
said it right. Speaking
Speaking freedom.
Freedom TV. Thank you, Dr. K, for correcting me. But y'all go follow on YouTube. Definitely, y'all already see at the bottom. Go click the link. Chop it up with KJ. Um, um, thank Dr. Casey again for coming out. This is another great episode of Chop It Up with KJ. Thank y'all today for coming out on this great day with my special guest. Um, thank you once again, Dr. Casey.
No problem. See you soon.